Hello, welcome to our ninth class. Today we are going to learn some adjectives related to houses and apartments. We are also going to study manners of evaluating and comparing houses and apartments, okay? So let's begin. So let's see here some adjectives first, okay? So here on the left we have a kitchen, right? We can say it's a modern kitchen, right? Or a modern house. On the right side, we have an old house, okay? Old, so modern and old are opposites, right? Here we have an inconvenient house, right? Why inconvenient? Inconvenient means that it is far from downtown, it is far from supermarkets, far from drugstores and etc. Okay, so this we could call an inconvenient house, an inconvenient place to live. As in the opposite, we have a convenient place to live, right? So look here, these are buildings that are right downtown. So you just have to climb down the stairs or the elevator and you are gonna find restaurants, stores, everything you need, okay? So it is a more convenient location. Here on the left, we have a quiet house, right? Or a quiet apartment. And on the right, we have a noisy place, okay? So you see, there's probably close to an airport, and also we have boats and ports, all very close to the apartment or the house. So it's a noisy place. Now, on the left, we have a cramped place. Cramped place is a place that is usually small and you don't have much space, all right? It would be the opposite of spacious, okay? So spacious is a place where you have a lot of extra room and you can fit your furniture and there's still space left, okay? So the opposite of cramped is spacious, okay? So cramped could also mean when you have a lot of furniture in a room, so you don't have space to move, it is difficult to walk, okay? So this is cramped and its opposite spacious, okay? So we also have here bright, so some place that receives a lot of sunlight, so it's very clear and bright. As in the opposite, we have dark, okay? Bright and dark. Here we have two adjectives that are less common, but also very used. One is shabby, okay? Shabby. Shabby is very similar in meaning as the one we have here on the right, which is dingy. Dingy and shabby. Let's see the definition of these two adjectives. So shabby is very close to deteriorated, okay? So it is a place that is a little worn out, okay? So something that shows that this place is old and it's been used, probably lacks maintenance, okay? And also dingy. Dingy is more like something which is dark, it is already discolored. Sometimes they can be used as synonyms, okay? Since shabby is something that is deteriorated and dingy can be something that is already discolored, so it is also deteriorated, okay? So it is possible to use them in some occasions as synonyms, okay? So dingy is more related to something dark, deteriorated, but also related to the color, right? It's already discolored, okay? Now, let's see how to evaluate houses and apartments, okay, using enough first and then using to. First, using enough. We always use enough after the adjective. Look here the examples. My apartment isn't spacious enough. My apartment isn't spacious enough. So we use enough after the adjective. So the adjective here is spacious. We say, my apartment isn't spacious enough. Or, his house isn't quiet enough. His house isn't quiet enough. The same enough after the adjective. We can also say these same sentences using to. Let's see here how to do that. For example, my apartment is too cramped. So you see, these are synonyms. My apartment is too cramped is a synonym with my apartment isn't spacious enough. So these are opposites, right? Spacious and cramped are opposites. So I can use my apartment isn't spacious enough or my apartment is too cramped, okay? Now the second, his house isn't quiet enough. So if it isn't quiet enough, means his house is too noisy, okay? It isn't quiet enough, it is too noisy, okay? So we can use enough and too to evaluate things, okay? To give our opinion about places, right? Let us see now how to compare, okay? So evaluations is when we talk about something, but we are not comparing it or them with anything else. But now, when we have a comparison, we are going to compare two things, two places, for example. Okay, let's see here how to use as plus adjective plus s. Okay, example. An apartment is just as comfortable as a house, or an apartment is as comfortable as a house. So what I mean here is that an apartment and a house are both very comfortable, okay? So they are equal, okay? So we can say this, one is as good as the other, as comfortable as the other, okay? Always using as plus adjective, look here, as, plus the adjective comfortable, plus as again, okay? To compare two things. In this case, I'm saying both things are good, okay? So the comparison puts them in the same level, okay? So means they are equal. Now we can also say that they are not equal, that they are different. Look here. We are going to use the negative in this case. Houses aren't as safe as apartments. Houses are not as safe as apartments, okay? So means that now they are different. Houses are more dangerous than apartments, okay? Houses are more dangerous than apartments. So means apartments are safer than houses, okay? So this form of comparison we have already seen, right? Now we are just replacing this comparison of superiority, like more dangerous or safer. We are now replacing it with as, adjective as, okay? So houses are not as safe as apartments. They are not. Apartments are safer, okay? That's what it means. So let's practice a little, okay? Here we have a sentence. Friend's apartment is too old. Now here I used too, and I want to change the sentence to say the same thing but using not enough. So, friend's apartment isn't modern enough. It is too old. It is not modern enough. Can I say new? Of course, no problem, okay? You can say friend's apartment isn't new enough, okay? Modern or new, okay? No problems here. Both are going to be opposites to old, okay? One more. That house isn't bright enough. Now I used enough and I want to use too, okay? How can we do that? What is the opposite of bright? Dark, right? So this house isn't bright enough is the same as this house is too dark. This house is too dark. We just have to use the opposite, okay? Isn't bright enough is too dark. These are synonym sentences, okay? They mean the same. Now, a house is more expensive than an apartment. So this is a comparison, right? A house is more expensive than an apartment. So if this is a comparison, how can I write this using as? First, are they equal? No, they are different, right? Houses are more expensive, means apartments are cheaper, okay? So how can I do that using as? It must be now in the negative, remember? An apartment isn't as expensive as a house. An apartment isn't as expensive as a house, okay? So just have to be in the negative because they are not equal. They are not the same. They are different. So an apartment isn't as expensive as a house, or a house isn't as cheap as an apartment, okay? Both possible here. Now, houses and apartments are both convenient. Houses and apartments are both convenient. So now they are equal. So I'm going to use as in the affirmative, okay? Houses are as convenient as apartment. houses are just as convenient as apartments. So what is important here? We can use this just, okay? This is optional. If we use it, okay? If we use just, we want to stress that they are exactly the same, just as convenient as an apartment, okay? They are exactly the same, no difference. Okay, I think that's it for today. So today we saw how to evaluate and how to compare houses and apartments using adjectives. Next class, I want to talk to you how we can do the same things to evaluate and compare places, houses and apartments using nouns, okay? So this is going to be a very important class. We're going to go back to this subject we saw today, and we are going to see the difference when we use adjectives and when we use nouns, okay? So don't miss it. It's going to be a very important class. Thank you very much for watching. See you next class.